team. Welcome back to this week's episode of Ambassador Talk. My name's Chief Master Sergeant Jason David. This web series is specifically designed to show you what AFW2 can do for you. Its services and support activities are for anyone and everyone that qualify. You can always find out more by going to woundedwarrior.af.mil to find out more in itself. So today's guest speaker is none other than Chris Koch. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chief?
I'm good. I'm good. So my question for you, I mean, we have talked a little bit in the past, and my question for you to start this thing off is, do you like these blue shirts? Because I think they make all of us wear them.
I do. I don't wear many collared shirts anymore, so this is a rarity to see me in a collared shirt, not a t-shirt. But no, they're very comfortable, very airy, and I think it brings out my eyes.
It does bring out your eyes. So as we move into today's conversation, I'd like to let the folks that are tuning in today learn a little bit more about who Chris Koch is. So if you could give me your history in the Air Force and ultimately what led you to wearing this blue shirt.
All right, so been in the Air Force since 1998, started as a reservist, airporter, and I didn't like that at all. I'd much rather be on the airplanes. Moved to North Carolina, met the reserves from Charleston, talked to them. They said, hey, we would hire you in a heartbeat. So I crossed over to being a reserve load master in 99, 2000, was flying over 2001. After that, I moved over to active duty. I went to the 17th Airlift Squadron, which was the first combat operational 17 squadron, now closed. And had a blast, had a great job, saw some great things, saw some things that I don't recommend everyone having to deal with on a regular basis. Met my wife in Charleston, met her, added her kids, my kids, and had 2 more kids. So had a really good time.
I like the fact that you were a C-17 Loadmaster. That's actually probably one of my favorite heavy aircraft. But my least favorite experience is a combat landing in a plane that big. It's like my stomach was in my throat and then into my brain.
Yeah, that happens. It's when you put a plane down that big on a few thousand feet, put out the thrust reversers, it's gonna remind you how cool that airplane is. It is the best airlift plane we have because it does some of the stuff the 130 can do, and some of the stuff C5 can do, and they merge it into one, and they're
nice.
Flying it crazy.
So question for you, this career of yours being in, the reserve component, moving over to active duty, this was all probably extremely exciting and fulfilling for you, especially since you found the job that you wanted. But ultimately, something happened where it kind of derailed, your plan and how things were going. Would you mind explaining, or would you be comfortable explaining how that came to be?
One of the things from AFW2 is the fact you get really good at sharing. And every time you share your story, it seems to relax you and you get better at sharing it and you bring other people out. So mine was, I was cruising right along, having a good time. It was 2019. My wife was deployed. I went in for my flight physical. I had a little bump right here. And my flight doc, Major Select Sarah Bobnick here in Dover, also used to be a loadmaster back in the day. So we've known each other for a long time. She goes, no, you can't get away with that. You got to get that looked at. I'm like, really? She goes, yes. Doctor or officer says so. So I go and I get multiple tests, and they find out it's cancer, and they thought it was in my tonsils. Pulled out my tonsils, which is miserable as an adult. Run that out for test. It wasn't in my tonsils. At that point, I got a second opinion. Went to UPenn, which is an amazing hospital. Did another biopsy, found that where the cancer is at. They pulled out a 5.5 centimeter tumor from my throat, plus 20% of my tongue, and some lymph nodes got pulled out too. I also got 30 radiations, 7 chemos, and ended it all with a double pulmonary embolism that if I wouldn't have been in the hospital, I probably would have died. Through the whole process, my RCC, Don Tressler here at Dover, walked me through step by step, took care of my wife, made sure she had everything she needed. If I had to stay up there, he made sure she knew how to file to get up there. The kids, there were things that the kids do just to keep them preoccupied and not worrying what was going on with me, and he made sure they knew about that. So I had a really good RCC. I had a really good doctor. My commander at the time was Eddie Sapanik. C-17, extraordinary pilot, soldier guy, could fly like amazing. And he, man, my job was from day one, your health. I even showed up one day in a uniform. He goes, "Nice try, go home. You look like you're in treatment. Go home."
No, I love that. I love the fact that they showed that much empathy and care for you, especially since you weren't feeling well and you weren't. So I guess my next question for you, and that's just to dive a little bit deeper into your story. The medical treatment team that was taking care of you, I'm assuming it's they who referred you to AFW2 to enable the RCC to then take care of you. So there are a number of different ways that you can get into this program. You can be referred. You can be referred by a friend. You can refer yourself. Of course, all these things are available on woundedwarrior.af.mil to find the specifics. But because it was done for you, how is it? How do you feel that your family was supported and not just you? I know you talked a little bit about your wife also being active duty and the fact that you've got a good grip of kids, right? Were they there to support not just you but your family as well?
Oh my goodness. The support that we got, I can't put in words. I mean, I can't, because you go from being an A-type personality, flyer, evaluator, everything is about precision and getting things done, to all of a sudden, I needed help. I needed my kids to be strong because I didn't have the same power I was going to have. And I still don't have the same things that I had prior to the surgeries. And again, Dawn was amazing. Um, Meeting Jonathan has been amazing. We've never met in person yet because we haven't had that time, but I'm looking forward to putting hands and faces and handshakes together with all these guys because they're amazing. I mean, you feel like you're part of a family from like day one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually on. Have you ever looked inside of like an old email address that you don't read anymore? Maybe the old school Yahoos or the Hotmails and things like that. I got added to John Fernandez and Dave Wooten's like holiday greeting card email chains. Very awkward, very sweet, but very awkward. But you're right. AFW2 caregivers and facility members, or faculty members, if you will, they are all uh, on a completely another level as far as care, which is funny because they don't get paid any extra to love on you more. They don't get paid any extra to care more. But I think it's just the spirit that is within this organization. I mean, I'm assuming you feel the same way.
I do. I'm kind of upset now that Jonathan put you on his holiday greeting cards email. So the meal I was going to buy him when I see him in Texas, we might have to turn that around. I think
That's right. Upgrade your status in life.
yeah, we need to talk in person on that one.
So my next question is geared toward the training that you received. So obviously you're doing this conversation with me, and you are a certified Air Force ambassador, right, for the AFW2 program. How did the training go for you now that it's COVID-19 operations? The pandemic is still around, and so most of your training was virtual. How did that go for you?
I was kind of skeptical in the beginning of how that was going to work because it was going to be a very emotional. You're going to draw things out of people. We're sharing life-altering happenings, from MSTs to cancers to all over the board. It was amazing. At the end of it, this group shared so many details that I know, and we actually get to see each other in person. You're gonna walk up and be like, "I've known you forever," because if you can share that deep of a story over video with multiple people, in person is just gonna be like, "Hey, let's have a dinner, let's talk." Now we can expand on that because now it's even better. This is it's not the way I would like to do things because I'm a very was a lot more outgoing. But what I do like is the idea that it's going to come back, and once it's done, we seeded it with something new. So if all else fails, we have another avenue of how to train or continue training or add to training, and it's been a blast.
I don't mind doing things behind the camera or even video sitting down because people can't tell how tall I actually am. I normally start off these speeches with, "I'm not very tall, so I'll keep this short." After I get a couple of giggles, because it's just that corny, then I proceed with whatever message that we have. But I too felt the same way going through the ambassador program a little bit before you did, but still in the midst of the pandemic. And what's interesting is that you're still able to connect with your brothers and sisters in arms for a variety of reasons. And to become an Air Force Wounded Warrior member, an alumni, you don't have to be a combat wounded veteran. There are different conditions, life-altering conditions, things that have happened while you're in the military, even things that have, gone awry medically prior to joining the military, and they're only discovered afterwards. The sole purpose of the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program is to help airmen in any way they can, whether that's returning them to duty or helping them transition while still receiving support, on the back end. Because you're an alumni, you don't stop getting support just because you've been removed from the Air Force 2, 3, 4 years. We have alumni that participate in adaptive sports, our resiliency programs, even our ambassador talks that haven't been serving in years. So, I mean, how does that make you feel as a member yourself?
It's definitely rewarding to think that when I'm out, I'm still having a connection to the Air Force because my wife has another, batch of time before she's done. So I'm going to have that connection. But sharing it, I've already been able to take a friend of mine who was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, let me, and I basically drug him to Dawn saying, you need to talk to him because the support you're looking for is right here. I'm not mentoring him officially, but I talk to him all the time and help him through it. And once people see this program, I got to speak to the new commanders when they came through, as well as the new batch of first shirts. And it's fun because you ask how many people know about this, and they go like this. I'm like, okay, so how many of you have dealt with somebody? I put it back on them asking questions, and it's fun because if I can do that even when I'm out, it'll be even better because then I don't have any, I don't have any rank issues anyways. I'll pester almost anybody.
That's good. So what I'll do is I'll kind of round off the conversation by asking you, in your ambassador testimonies and messages that you want to share as an ambassador yourself, what are the key takeaways that Chris Koch wants people to know?
Key takeaways would be real simple. This is the program. It's a 24/7, 365 day ability group that has the ability to help you, your family, your kids in any way, shape, or form. It's there for the taking. No one's going to heckle you or hassle you about it. It's there. If you see somebody you think needs it, refer them. The RCCs will help you to distinguish if they're eligible or not, and if they're not, they're still going to point them in the right direction. And after that, share your stories, because you'd be amazed that by sharing a story, what I went through, somebody else could have the exact same issues, same surgeries, but they're going to have different avenues of problems, no problems, and how it affects them is different. And just be with them. In my stuff with, I can't tell you how it's going to feel, but I can promise you I can walk side by side with you the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best bonuses of any sort of professional and or organization that the Air Force sponsors is the sense of camaraderie. Especially if people end up, medically retiring or transitioning out of the Air Force, knowing that you still have that connective tissue, that support system, that network that exists solely for the purpose of increasing your morale, and B, your ability to reach out to resources, I think is just fantastic. So, Chris Koch, I appreciate you sharing some time with me today. Obviously, if anyone else is interested, head over to woundedwarrior.af.mil to find out if you apply or if someone you know could benefit from you referring to them. Thanks again for tuning in this week. I love saying this catchphrase, what AFW2 can do for you, and I truly mean it. Absolutely check out our resources, and see you next time.